Hey, it's Robert. Well, today we are at the Bunbury Festival in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's see if I can get through here without killing me or somebody else. Yeah, like I said, we're at the Bunbury Festival today in Cincinnati. I'm really hoping that Bunbury is not a veiled cover for man buns and hipsters, but I'm probably going to be wrong about that. At any rate, it looks like a fun little festival to be at. It does give some logistical challenges. We did have, we loaded in very early this morning. It was kind of a long, hard load in where we had to truck stuff into the stage and get ready, but didn't really have time for any kind of sound check, any kind of work through the PA. Just time for a very quick line check, and then had to move our stuff off stage and get ready for the rest of the bands throughout the day. But you know, in an effort to make lemonade out of lemons, I think what I'm going to do for you today is actually show you, we're going to continue on our discussion of spill, and I'm going to show you today how I've taken advantage of not only spill but user-defined layers to be able to set up and do certain things very quickly. One of them is line check. You know, I have some user-specifically designed layouts on the console that address line check, and I'm actually using subgroups in a very specific way, above and beyond what I mentioned in the last video with regard to audio. I actually use them to group instruments and be able to spill them very quickly in specific families of types of instruments. I know that sounds a little vague right now. I'll try to explain it more when I'm sitting around the console. But we'll do that, and I'll actually record the actual line check today and post that as part of the blog as well. So you'll see it in real time, and should be pretty cool. I think you'll enjoy that. Give you some idea of the power of SXL. Some of the navigational possibilities on it are really cool, and honestly, the more I'm out with it on the road, the more things I find. Okay, so should be a lot of fun. I head down to the stage area here and grab an iced tea because it's a little toasty here today. All right, I'll check back in with you later. We're probably about 4 hours from our line check. Hey guys, how's it going? It's Robert. I'm here at the 930 Club in Washington, D.C. And I know at the Bunbury Festival I had talked to you guys about giving you a couple of tips and tricks on using some grouping and spill to kind of quickly get through a line check. And unfortunately my screen capture and stuff didn't work there. So I'm going to try to recreate it today so that I can show you this, because it's pretty cool, and it definitely helps you kind of work quickly, especially if you've got large numbers of inputs here. So give me a second, I'm going to set it up, I'll turn the camera around, and hopefully I'll get it right this time, and you guys can use this. Okay, see you in just a minute. Bye-bye. Okay guys, I'm going to give you a little tip and trick that you can use with SXL to actually allow you to use some of the groups that we have, some of the group headroom that we have here in terms of buses, to actually help you navigate a little quickly on the console. This is a pretty cool little workflow here. So if you take a look at the universe screen right now, what you'll see is that I have 16 subgroups allocated here. The first 8 subgroups are my actual subgroups that I'm using to pass audio through for the show. You know, for you guys that have worked with me or followed the way I work in the past, I work through subgroups a lot. So we could easily just use those if we wanted to do it, to do our line checks, and probably just fine, just like we've done for years. As a matter of fact, we could take advantage of spill there, and for instance, I could just go to my lead vocal group and spill it, and voila, there would be the lead vocals that I have assigned to that group. But I actually take this kind of one more level here, and I've actually created a set of subgroups that represent each crew member on stage. So if you'll notice, 9 through 16 is actually labeled Gary, Greg, Mark, Bugs, Steve, Chinner. I even have one set up for ambience and one set up specifically to take me to a couple of inputs. So, in my normal show mode, I would have my normal layout here that I would select, and I would probably safe those up. I will almost always safe up my VCAs to keep them accessible to me at all times. But at some point during the line check, I want to be able to bounce in and out of things that I need to do and check during that line check with the particular guys. So you'll notice I'll just do the first one. So let's spill Greg's group. Greg is the monitor engineer, and typically he checks a number of the vocals with me. So all of the vocals come up, and all of their vocal processing comes up as well. So I could actually check that during line check if I wanted to do it as well, make sure things are routed the way I want, etc. So the other piece of it is if I were to move on to somebody like Gary. Gary is the drummer. So I would have all of the drum inputs available to me with processing, along with the drummer's vocal, so I can communicate to Gary very quickly there. Whereas if I just spilled it in the drum subgroup, I would not be able to have the vocal there. I would have to spill a different group or track down that input from a different location in order to line check it. Similar thing happens for Mark Skaggs. If I call up Mark does the stage left guitars, which is a combination of electrics, acoustics, banjos. He's actually doing 2 or 3 players, and I do a similar thing there where the thing I assign to his group is all of those guitars plus a couple of the vocal mics that are near him so I can communicate it with him, as well as things like guitar DIs, other elements of that as well, so that I can get to those and line check them even though they may not be part of the actual audio subgroup. So you'll just see I can just get through each one of the road crew guys and all of the things that they're responsible for very quickly. In addition, there are other inputs that I have on the console that I need to line check on a daily basis that are not going to those subgroups at all, things like ambience mics. So you would see my front of house audience mics, my stage audience mics, as well as my 5.1 mic, all coming up in that group. And that allows me just to get to them and line check them really quickly without having to dive down through layers or anything like that. Okay, we'll probably be able to address this in the future with the TFT, where we're going to have multiple layouts here, so you could just create those layouts if you wanted to do it here. But I just found this to be a really easy way to do it. Obviously these subgroups that I'm using strictly for the line check can be mono or stereo. It doesn't really matter at that point because you're not actually passing audio through them. You're just using it as a way to filter your inputs and kind of get the ones you want right up on the top layer very quickly to do line check. So it's a nice way to take advantage of some of the additional headroom or bus headroom, I should say, in the console. You could certainly do this with VCAs as well if you wanted to do it, but I would caution you, if you're going to do that, to remember that if you're going to assign inputs to those VCAs strictly to filter them or create like a pop group to get them to the top, remember those inputs will be subject to the mute, and they will also be subject to the fader on that VCA. So if I was doing it, if I was forced to do it using VCAs, probably what I would do would be to create a snapshot at the top of my line check that assigned those inputs properly to the VCAs, where I could populate them out and line check them properly, and then once I got into my actual set, de-assign all of those VCAs. I wouldn't want to really risk anything happening in the show there that I might not know about. Okay, so kind of a cool way to do line check there. You'll see me do it from time to time. We'll probably record more line checks. Maybe I'll record again tonight so you can get a better sense of me actually doing this and what it actually looks like. Okay. All right, that's it for me. I hope you enjoy that one. I'll try to come up with some little tips and tricks, not tips and trip-ups, on a daily basis. All right, guys, enjoy that one. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.